Taran Killam here on the Rich Eisen Show, fresh back from Saturday Night Live's 50th anniversary celebration.
Yes.
All right, I'll just give you the floor. And what was
sure,
that like,
I almost did a bit where I just was like sunglasses on, hood up, still hungover. But I will say, you know, I'm 42. I don't rebound as quickly as I once did.
Nice.
So I paced myself wisely, and I'm glad I did, because it was the best weekend. It was joyful. It was amazing. There were, like, everywhere you looked was a hero, or, you know, or a peer that you loved. And you know, everybody's talking about the 50th special, which was incredible and amazing. I was very, 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 very lucky to be a small part of it. But the Friday night concert at Radio City Music Hall, which was streaming on Peacock, they learned so many good lessons from the 40th anniversary, I feel. And by they, I mean, like, you know, the brass at SNL and NBC. That concert was insane. Lauryn Hill and Wyclef came out, like, as a surprise guest. The surviving members of Nirvana, led by Post Malone, performed Smells Like Teen Spirit. Cher, in the bodysuit, in front of a digital battleship, sang Turn Back Time. It was like, it didn't stop. It kept building. It was amazing. And it felt like, more so than the 40th was like a celebration of success and stature. And this one, to me, at least in my experience, was a celebration of the show itself. Like every cast member was there, every writer was there, seeing all the crew. You know, I think this was a last hurrah for a lot of people behind the scenes. Like, an example is Betsy Torres, who's been the standards and practices representative for SNL for so many years. This was her final show. Was it really? It was her last chance to say, you can't say douche rag on the air. You know? Imagine that job. Imagine that job. Exactly.
Sitting on a beach.
She's going to be such a bummer at the breakfast table. You can't say cereal. Why? I don't know. I missed my job. It was insane. I mean, I best, you know, I have so many pictures, and like, I posted a lot. I posted a full story, and it's quite honestly not even a third of the amazing moments I captured. Cool. Like, you know, the one that first comes to mind is, you know, Paul Simon started the show. Paul McCartney basically was the last musical performance, and to see those two Pauls talking to each other on the Good Night stage, just absolutely legendary. It was just full of legends, and it was full of SNL legends. Like the 40th, you had like your George Lucases, which I was very excited about, and your Baz Luhrmanns, but this one was, I felt a shift towards, let's recognize the people who made the show what it is, you know?
And from my perspective, sitting at home watching it with my kids, 16, 14, and 11. Yeah. When Paul Simon and Sabrina Carpenter came out. Yes. You know, my wife and I were like, Paul Simon. And my kids were like, that's Sabrina Carpenter. You know what I mean? Yes. And then to have the two of them have the conversation that they had, you know, that Sabrina Carpenter's like, you know, I wasn't alive. Neither were my parents. Right. After Paul Simon's like, well, here's a song that I sang with George Harrison on the first SNL. And then Paul Simon looks at her and says, well, you know, hopefully your parents will enjoy hearing this for the first time. Incredible, right? But that is the perfect mix of what this show has become over 50 years. And I'm a 55-year-old guy, and I don't remember life without SNL. Okay. I appreciate you saying that. And then here are my kids who are watching this sort of clip style, you know, in the 21st century. Understood, yes. That's how because they're not, you know, staying up to watch it. But it is still just as important to them. Yeah, I found even with my own kids that the clips lead to curiosity, which leads to, this would be fun to watch live. What a novel thing to stay up till 1 in the morning watching, you know, the live taping. But it is the brilliance of Lorne, like of the many brilliant things he's accomplished. But he is just so savvy and discerning of keeping it relevant. Right, the relevancy, and I just it's part of his genius, and I got to see him Friday night at the concert and shake his hand and thank him for letting me be a part of it. Yeah, there is nothing like it. There's nothing like it in the way it's produced, but now that it's achieved this milestone of 50 years of relevancy, there's nothing like SNL. So, Taran Killam here on the Rich Eisen Show. What was it like backstage as you're getting ready to do your... So fun. Well, as you know, I did get to play Pizza Rat in the New York musical. So
There we go. We got it right there. Yeah. I'm putting on an oversized rat costume and talking with Anna Gasteyer and seeing Keenan, who I love so much, and talking to Tom Broker, the head of the wardrobe department, now producer on SNL. And it just was like repeated reunions filled with love and gratitude and nostalgia, and it was just amazing. And maybe as a fan, my favorite thing was at the 40th.
Yes.
Eddie Murphy was a little. He was a little like, they're like, we could do Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood, we could do Buckwheat, we could do, and he was a little timid, and he's now hosted maybe twice since the 40th, and I think he's like, oh no, wait, this is fun. So to see him in Scared Straight, to see him in Black Jeopardy, to watch him live was like a thrill as an SNL fan and alumni. It was awesome. It was just that you could just feel everybody go, let's jump back into the joy of what the show is, the best it can be. And I think that was demonstrated in the special.
Yeah, the idea of having Eddie Murphy play Tracy Morgan was next level. It was next level. Was there a conversation with you and them about who you would play? Like, how did they land on Pizza Rats?
I was really lucky. I think that's Mulaney's doing, who's just one of the best. I literally landed Thursday night to a text of like, are you willing to be a rat for one line of the musical? I was like, of course, because I showed up very much ready to just be an attendee and sort of witness it. And it was wonderful. And probably my personal favorite experience was Saturday day is when they're doing the blocking for each sketch. And this was a beast of a show to produce. I mean, and more than that is like how much talent was in each sketch, how many egos, how many individuals you're trying to serve within a single block sketch. So they were so efficient. And in the downtime, it was me, Beck Bennett, Kyle Mooney, Alex Moffat, and James Austin Johnson. Sorry, I'm getting a call from, it's Lauren. He heard my compliment. I thank you for saying such nice things about me. I love you, Boopsie. Lauren.
That's weird.
That's so weird. But it was just like generations hanging out, swapping war stories, and getting to know each other and getting to show appreciation. Like that was insane. And then in terms of like celebrity sightings for me, in my second or third season, I, in sort of a fever dream, recreated Robin's Call Your Girlfriend video in my 100-square-foot office.
Yes.
And that's gotten some good love online. And Robin performed at the Friday night concert and then was there for the show. And I got a photo with her at the Plaza after party, which I will say, compared to the 40th was madness. The 40th was like Haim and Taylor Swift started the concert and then Prince finished it, which was insane. And this year there was still cool. Like Eddie Vedder, Busta Rhymes was there.
This is at the post party.
This is the Plaza party post show. It was still cool, but a lot of the focus was on, hey, we got to be a part of this. Yeah. How incredible. And I've either been a fan of yours, or I loved working with you, or I've enjoyed watching you since I left the show. And it was just a really good vibe. It was really, really fun.
What time did you leave the party?
I am proud to say, at 42 years old,
yes, sir, was
still on my feet at 5:02 a.m. when they turned the lights on.
Wow. Look at you.
I was about that.
They turn, and this isn't like the usual like start time for a post SNL broadcast would start. That party would start at like 2 a.m. right?
Yeah, exactly.
Usually, right? And
correct.
So because the show ends at 1 a.m. Eastern normally.
Yes.
This one started even earlier.
Yeah, there's more time to fill before you get to 5 a.m.
5 a.m.
Not bad. It's me. I got a photo with me, Mike Myers, Tim Meadows, Vanessa Bayer, and Eddie Vedder. Hanging out, shutting down the Plaza. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'll pick those up on my way out. I'll pick those names I dropped on my way out. But
you should. So that photo. Can we?
Yeah. I'll send it to you.
But send it to me.
Yeah. Of course I will.
We'll put it in post. As they say.
Exactly.
So wow, 5:02 a.m. Lights come on.
Get out of the Plaza. Michael Che's there. Yeah. I'm walking out with Tim Robinson and Zach Cannon, and Che's like, "Get in my car," and he takes us to the after after at 5:15.
Okay. Where's the after?
A place formerly called Johnny Utah's, which was like the Saddle Ranch of New York.
Yeah. That's right by Radio City.
It's just south of Radio City. Now it is like a forest floral themed thing, and that's when the 42 kicked in. You have to go down a long flight of stairs and use the handrail, and I made it, and they put a tree behind the bar. That doesn't make any sense. So I turned right back around, and I walked 6th Ave, just soaking in the city.
Sun coming up? Did the sun?
Not quite yet. Nope. We're still in winter hours.
When was the last time you've seen the sunrise overnight? Like maybe an SNL party?
It had to have been.
When you were on the show, right?
Exactly right. Yeah.
Or the 40th or something like that?
Yeah, maybe. I know.
Normally, you don't want to be the last one at a party when the lights go on.
Correct.
But when you see Eddie Vedder there, you got to be like, okay, I'm good.
And he's like, hey, man, here's some guitar picks. And it's
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah. Wow. I never joke about guitar picks. You know this about me. If there's one thing that's sacred to me, it's Eddie Vedder guitar picks.
Oh,
yeah, man. It was madness. And just seeing, people recognize each other and see each other, and like Kevin Nealon and Chevy Chase hugging it out, and Sherry O'Terry with Cecily Strong. Like it just was it was more so than the 40th, which I was more involved in the 40th, production wise, so I could really kind of stand back and soak it in. And it just was like a weekend of appreciation of all things SNL.
It is so great. And to see Jack Nicholson there too.
Yeah, how about that?
Wow. That was stunning.
He introduced Adam Sandler.
Right. That song, right?
Yeah, which was great. But Sandler doing his thing like that and having Jack Nicholson, by the way, in a Yankee Kangol, which I greatly appreciated. I was very excited to see that. But,
honestly, I saw this, and this is just for you. Jack Nicholson was wearing Wolverine's underwear.
What?
Sorry, I do joke about that.
Don't you
I forgot that that's your guitar pick.
Don't you dare. Wait a minute. Everything I like. Me and Jack are alike?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Boy,
go blue. No, it was amazing. And Sandberg, I got to shout out Sandberg, the Lonely Island guys. And if you're not listening to their podcast, it is a true joy.
Yeah.
But Sandberg at the Friday night concert at Radio City did a medley of all his hits. Vedder came out and did the Michael Bolton Captain Jack Sparrow role.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was incrudable. Lady Gaga did Timberlake's D and a B, because I don't know what I can say here, even though I think I already said douche rag once.
You did.
I like that you abbreviated box, though. That's nice.
I don't know. I don't want to offend anybody.
Okay, great.
I don't want to offend. You know what I mean? It's early morning.
Fine.
Johnson in a container.
Once 10 a.m. happons, I'll be throwing box out left and right.
Out, man.
You cut me off, you box sucker.
This guy was up at dawn on Monday. And he's here on a Thursday morning.
Yeah. It was amazing. Coast. But Sandberg, the medley was amazing, and then his video about anxiety. He's Lonely Island, as beloved as they are, in my opinion, still don't get quite enough credit for restructuring the show. No one has had a structural impact on that show since its inception. I really do believe that. And his anxiety video is just like a chef's kiss of kind of acknowledging an elephant in the room, but doing it with love. And he did the same thing 10 years ago with the Breaking video. Did a video on, a short about people who laugh on camera. And I just think the world of that guy. He's so smart, and that was one of my faves of the evening.
Anybody you met for the first time from SNL history?
Gosh,
anybody?
Who was my first? There were lots. God, and of course I'm blanking.
It's all right. Anybody that you met for the first time? Period. That night that you're.
Vedder was a first meet.
That's a great one.
It was a fever dream. I'm actually thinking SNL wise, I think I'd met almost everybody.
Cool.
That was cool. Yeah. Well, it was new cast members that I hadn't gotten to share. Like Sarah Sherman, I absolutely love, and she brings me joy whenever she's on camera. So getting to spend some good time with her was incredible. And as I said earlier, James Austin Johnson, we really got to kind of
he's so talented.
S.
Yep. shoot the
yes.
Well done.
And he's just like, I mean, what a Swiss Army knife of talent that guy is. So those were really cool for me. But I was going like, well, Paul McCartney. No, I'd already met Paul McCartney, and he did say, "Hello, Taran, how are you? Good to see you. We've been doing some gigs around town. We were down at the Bowery 2 nights ago, and all the young kids are moshing around, and they're just blown out of their skulls, and they know every word. It was really a fantastic thing." Yeah, I know, Paul. That sounds cool. I'm going to now watch you play this song 2 times in a row and weep in front of you. Is that okay? Yeah. And he was okay with it.
Oh my gosh! Obviously, God rest his soul, and Chris Farley, the Chris Farley with McCartney.
Yes,
just for his.
You remember? And he sang in the end, "The love you make is equal to love you." Is that true? Remember when you said the love you make is equal to love? Is that true? Awesome.
Well, Chris, I often find that the love you make, and he explains the song to him.
That's one of the.
That's awesome. It's so good.
One of the greatest.
The first Norm was at the 40th. Norm was a big one for me at the 40th because I worship that guy. I just worship his confidence, his joke structure. He just was always a favorite of mine. And so there was the loss of that. And I was grateful to Sandler for kind of taking the time to call that out too. Mm-hmm. It's 50 years, man.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.